there. I wanted to speak to you today about anxiety and how the Spinal Flow Technique can help with symptoms of anxiety. And it's really important doing this video that you really understand the relationship between the mind body. When you realize that the mind and the body are connected, it makes sense why, if you are experiencing anxiety, that working with a technique that focuses on the body, the stress stored in the body, can really help you with symptoms of anxiety. And for me, this was something that I learned as, my background is as a former chiropractor. Before I developed the Spinal Flow Technique, I was a chiropractor and I worked with a very gentle, low force technique. So I didn't do any of the cracking and crunching. It was very, very gentle. But what I did do was I had a practice and I specialized in stress, depression, anxiety. And what I saw over time was that the amount of stress that was stored in someone's body related enormously to how they felt, the amount of anxiety in their life. And I really got to see that their relationship between the mind and the body. And what I also saw was when I worked very gently on the spine, which is now the modality that I created, the Spinal Flow Technique, as layers of stress started to come off the body, layer and layer at a time, what happened was not only did people's bodies feel better and they felt looser and out of the fight-flight response, there was less stress stored in the body, but their minds felt different. They were saying to me that, you know what, I used to be anxious and I'm not now. I've got more calmness. I'm sleeping better. I'm not worried as much with all the thoughts in my head. So I really noticed such a powerful connection working with the body and how that affects the mind. And that's what I wanted to share with you, because for me, there's different ways to help you. You've got anxiety. You can come in through the mind, and there's incredible practitioners and psychologists and coaches out there to really help look at your mind and your thoughts and what's going on. Or you can come in through the body. So the Spinal Flow Technique is a way, it's like an open portal to come in through the body, to allow the body to release stress and release tension and to dump the stuff that's stored, so we can create more ease, more flow. We can have less blockage in the system to create ease, more flexibility, more flow in the spine and the nervous system in the body, and therefore affecting everything to do with the mind. And it might sound like, well, that sounds good. It's like, it does sound good. That's the only thing I've done my whole life, is help people feel better in their minds and their body, but coming in through ease. And sometimes some of the stress that you may have had in your lives is too much, or you don't want to talk about it, or you've done all the talking, but it's still sitting in the body. And that's what I find as well. It could be that I've worked with people and they've had trauma, or they've had stuff that's gone on, and they've seen all the people and they're like, you know what, I get it. I get this happened as a child, or this happened with a parent, and I feel like I've mentally resolved it, but it's still there. And what I see is when I work with their body is that that's still being stored in their spine and their nervous system. It hasn't been, even though it's been released from their minds, it's still being stored in the body. As long as it's being stored in the body's still speaking to us, it's holding tight, and it's communicating that with the mind. And as I speak about the mind and the body, some people are like, oh, it's not connected, or I don't believe in mind-body medicine, that's all rubbish. I'm going to invite, and that's who I was. For me, when I started, before I created my modality, I was a full scientist. I worked at a place called TBI, Texas Back Institute, and helped people with surgery and musculoskeletal conditions. And I didn't want to hear anything about any type of mind-body connection. But then I started to see people and realize that when I worked with them and I worked with their spine and their nervous system and helped them with decreasing pain and increasing energy, they were saying to me, I don't know what you're doing, but I feel that I've got more happiness, or I feel clearer in my mind, or I'm sleeping better, or I'm making better decisions. And I'm like, that's weird. I'm just working with their body. But over time, I realized there's no separation. And if you want to do a little experiment with me, if you think about the nervous system, and the Spinal Flow Technique is designed all around the nervous system. If you think about the brain, this is the brain, right? It's right here. This is your brain. So you've got your brain, and then you've got a spinal cord that comes out of your brain, and out of the spinal cord is every nerve root that supplies every cell, muscle, tissue in the body. Now, if you imagine that we pulled this brain out of the body, what happens is that spinal cord is attached. It's one organ. So remember, we're pulling this out of the body. Then what happens is you've got brain, you've got spinal cord, and every nerve as one organ system. That is your nervous system. It is connected. Your brain, mind to the body, the nervous system that supplies every organ cell that lives inside the spinal column. That is one organ that's connected. And if you think about what we see, so we've got the brain here, we've got a skull around it, and then our spine, we've got 33 movable vertebrae around the spine. But like I said, if you pull that out, it's one, mind and body massively connected. So I think that's really important. Firstly, for you, if you are experiencing anxiety, and some types, and if you think, well, I don't even know what anxiety is, some of the people that I've worked with experience anxiety as, it might be like feelings of maybe restlessness, difficulty falling asleep or staying asleep. It might be that there's like constant fatigue, or you've got difficulty with concentration, might be difficulty with focus or irritability, some muscle tension, constant worry, panic attacks, phobias. So they're kind of can live in the anxiety bracket. But again, it's not about being diagnosed or saying, hey, this is what I've got. The purpose of this video is to let you know that if you do have anxiety or some form of something that's going on up in your mind, please know that by working with the body, by working on a really gentle technique like the Spinal Flow Technique, it can really, really help you. And the reason I want to help you is because that's my mission. I know that there's too much suffering out there. Not only are people's bodies stressed, suffering, in pain, have disease and illness, people's minds are not coping anymore. There's so much unhappiness. There's so much anxiety and depression and stress and worry. And when you've got that worry, anxiety is, it's worry about the future, like, what's being quite nervous about it. And the other thing I want to say is, if that is you, be kind to yourself. Like, the reason there is that amount of worry is most likely because of the stress that you've incurred in your life, the stress or the trauma. And what I know for sure is that there's too much physical, chemical, and emotional stress that's in our worlds, but not just in our worlds, being stored in our bodies. And if that's the case, then it makes sense that our bodies are suffering. It makes sense that our bodies have pain, disease, and illness. It makes sense that that stress is being stored but doesn't have a way to go. But it also makes sense that our minds are responding based on our bodies, and our minds remember the past as if it's happening right now. And so the way to move through it and to heal and wake up in the morning and feel good and to have our mind stop can be by working through the body. Working through the body and helping the body move from that fight-flight response to more of an open healing. It's moving from the sympathetic, stressed response to the parasympathetic, rest, digest, openness, healing. That's what we do with the Spinal Flow Technique. We move your body from the stress zone to the healing zone, allow less blockages, that stress that's been stored in the spine. We can start to move that stress, release it so it's no longer there, bring in the spinal wave, so not just your body starts to feel so much better, your mind does as well. And that's what's possible with the Spinal Flow Technique. And also, if you are someone that is, like a massage therapist, or you're working as a therapist already, like for myself as a chiropractor, also if you're a physio or you're working with people and you're working with them on a musculoskeletal basis, and you realize that you want to help them more, you want to help them with the mind, you want to help them with more happiness, less troubling thoughts, less anxiety, less depression, then come join us. Have a look into the Spinal Flow Technique certification program, because that's what we do best. What we do best is help people with stress, help people that don't feel good in their own minds anymore. They don't feel good in their own body, but they really are ready to live a different life. And that's my passion. My passion is to train and teach people that want to learn a modality that's incredible and powerful, which I believe is the Spinal Flow Technique, and to help you guys be incredible, successful practitioners so you can help so many people with the suffering that's in the world. It's all too much right now. So again, if that feels like you, join us. If you feel like, you know what, right now I've just got stress and anxiety in my life, then please look at our website and find one of our certified spinal flow practitioners so they can help you. This is not something that we can help via chat. It's really about going in to see someone, having an assessment, seeing what's going on in your body, finding out what's happened in the past, and finding a plan so you can start to feel better in your body and in your mind again, and start to enjoy life. And reality is, you're important. Let's prioritize you and help you with your health and healing. Thanks for watching my video. Mwah. Big love to you guys.